Shiba Inu did it again. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the channel. Thank you for joining us today. Shiba Inu did it again. That is correct. Shiba Inu did exactly what we talked about it doing again and again and again and again. So right now, like we talked about yesterday, Shiba Inu has come down to our target zone on the 4 hour. It is currently resting at the 50 moving average on the 4 hour. We're going to talk about Shiba Inu in the charts today. We're going to look at the weekly, the daily, and the 4 hour. We're even going to be jumping down a little bit smaller time frames today, the 1 hour and 15 minute on Shiba Inu. We will do an overview for Ethereum and Bitcoin as well, the weekly, daily, 4 hour on those, and see what's going on. Plus, we are going to jump into the news, what's happening in the crypto world today. And hey, if you're new here, my name is Ryan Huggins. I'm a real estate agent and a crypto and real estate investor here in Southern California. And my job is to be your crypto shortcut. Because if you're like most people, you don't have the opportunity to read through all of these articles, go through every single headline, watch hours of YouTube videos on a daily basis. But I do. That's what I do. And I bring that information to you in a condensed manner. So if you're looking for a crypto shortcut, smash that subscribe button. We give it to you. And also, if this video gets 5,000 likes, I'm going to throw an additional $100 to one of the lucky comments down at the bottom of this video. So here we are on Shiba Inu. It did exactly what we talked about yesterday. It came right on down to our 4 hour 50 moving average, and it is acting as a support. So today we are down 3.79%. So not looking great. In fact, we've been falling consistently now for 2 days, and we've had quite a heavy drop. Let's go ahead and take a look here. We've got this to this. In the last 2 days, we're down 10%. Now, what we did talk about is, since we're here on the daily time frame, you can see we did have a bearish divergence occur on the histogram and also the money flow. That bearish divergence signaled back here August 14th, started to take action on August 15th. We had that little recovery on August 16th. Now 17th and 18th, we've had consistent drops. Now, the other thing that we talked about is our supply and demand zone. So with that, we jump to our Heikin-Ashi candles. We jump all the way down to our 15-minute supply and demand scenarios here. And what we're going to do is we're going to look back in the past, and we're going to find out WTF is going on here, right? Because we are currently dropping, and we have now broken a severely important support range, okay? Now, we talked about this yesterday. If this breaks, we could likely be returning all the way back down to the previous resistance level that then became a support, but it hasn't become a support yet because it has never actually gotten back to that. And that is this number right here, this quad 013. All right. So as we look in to our supply and demand zones, well, we had broken this one a couple of days ago, right here, this quad 01525. Last night, yesterday, actually 3 days ago, we talked about this one being the next level down. We are still bullish bias for the next couple of days. I'm going to tell you why here in just a couple of minutes, but we are having that pullback from this extreme explosion. So we did go ahead and we boxed off our candle here. This is the last red candle before the up move. Okay. That's the last red candle before the up move. We put it exactly at the bottom wick, put it exactly at the top of the wick. And this is the candle in question. We move these to the left-hand side because if we put the box exactly on the candle in question, we lose our wicks. So we move this over here. All right. Now, the other thing is on our 15-minute time frame, I don't know if we ever picked a color. We can go green, I guess. We'll go green here, and green will be our 15-minute time frame boxes. All right. So now we click that, go to auto for size-wise. And sure enough, as you can see right here, we have now broken below that. All right. And that just happened. In fact, that happened this morning, 9 a.m., 9:15, 9:30 was the official break. And then there was a retest. So here we go. So here's the break, the official candle, 9:30. It actually didn't even get back up during the retest. So that was a big extreme candle. We broke down. You can see we do have on the 15-minute time frame right now bullish divergences for the MACD and the histogram but it's not pushing up. In fact, it pushed up to the 21 exponential moving average and reject. You can see these red or these yellow X's. There is on this indicator, there is a system called the 5X system, right? So right now we only have 2, and so we have more drops potentially coming. Once we get to 5, we could see a return to the upside. But the reason I'm pointing all of this out, though, is because after we've broken this 15-minute supply and demand zone, as we go back in history and we go back to Heikin-Ashi candles, because that's how you find the supply and demand zones here, we'll see that this was the last red candle before all the way down here, right? And so now, now it gets ugly. So let's go down here. I mean, I don't even want to box this one off because that's not exciting. All right, so price returning back to a quad 0.1274. Again, this is not financial advice. I love it. Somebody watching these videos was like, hey, so-and-so, the other contributor on the channel, do you agree with his TA on this? Can you verify? Well, the actual charts verified itself, and it did do exactly like I said it was going to do, and it did continue to drop. So now we have an issue here where price very likely could drop again to quad 0.130 or to even lower quad 0.1274. That's our next supply and demand zone here on the 15-minute time frame. Now, you'll notice it's stopping here. So we have the 4-hour 50 moving average, which it is tapping off of, but I'm going to do a deeper dive. We have never done this on my segment. I do this all the time for my personal trading and things of that nature. We're going down to the 10-minute time frame. All right, so let's look here. What have we got on the 10-minute time frame? We have this box. So we do have an emergency break potential support here. This one's on the 10-minute zone. And we're going to keep this in mind because we have not even tested this strategy on this low of a time frame. So we have our 10-minute strategy here. We're going to have to find a color for this one. Let's see here. Let's go with like turquoise, I guess. Is that what color that is? All right, so there we go. Now we have a 10-minute time frame. Now this 10-minute supply and demand box is down here at quad 0.1342. Now this is all doomsday scenario stuff that I'm talking about. So let's talk about is there any positive news? Like, come on, Ryan, you're supposed to be, SHIB Army. We're supposed to be going to the moon here. And that is correct. We are going to the moon. It's just sometimes we have to have patience. All right. But right now, I do want to show you guys something because there is some exciting news to the upside. So let's go here. We're going to go to our Japanese candlesticks. And what we will notice, one of our other indicators that I like to use a lot, it is called the Nadaria Watson envelope. And if you're not using TradingView, go to tradingview.com, get yourself a free account. But what you'll notice is it gives you these little indicators. All right, so let's go ahead and turn everything off except for that. There we go. So what you'll notice is it gives you like this red indicator that's got an arrow down. That's an indication of, hey, we're probably going to drop. Boom, it did drop. All right, and then over here, you get this red indicator, right? Now, it took a couple of hours, but then boom, it dropped. And then it gave us another one, and boom, it dropped. Well, the good news is we have a green indicator. Now, this is not a signal to buy or sell. Remember, again, I'm not a financial advisor. This is not advice to buy or sell anything. Do not ever buy or sell anything because we talk about on this channel. Do your own research. And if it comes out to be something that you think is a good idea, then you can do. Now, what we're noticing, though, is we do have a green light indicator here. And what does that usually mean? Well, usually we'll see over the next day or two a recovery from this extreme drop to the top of this envelope. Now, what we will notice, if you guys are watching and you're seeing this in time with me, that is pretty much the angle, okay? So if price is going to come back up, price is probably going to hit that angle. And, we could see a continued climb back up into this zone. So let's do our Heikin-Ashis. And let's do a smaller time frame. Let's look at the 1 hour. 1 hour, you can also see here, giving us that same type of scenario. It's just like last time it hit the bottom, it at least traded sideways for hours. This was yesterday. If you guys were watching yesterday, you saw that it was continuously trapping off of this supply and demand box that we had drawn out on the 15-minute time frame. Sure enough, it kicked down, boom. And then we had to go all the way back in history to find this one. It also gave way, and now we don't have anything. There is no support levels until down here on this 10-minute time frame. There might be a 5-minute time frame one. Let's actually, because we're doing a deep dive today, ladies and gentlemen. We're doing a deep dive. All right, so let's go back in time before or during that massive run up that we just had. We're on the 5-minute time frame, and you can see here we had this one. Let's just do this because I don't want to draw the box. Let's just do this horizontal ray at the bottom. This was the last red candle before this up move. These are already invalidated because it's dropped below it. And we'll go right here. All right, so now we shoot into present day. And again, this is on the 5-minute time frame. This is the bottom of that box. And you can see right now, it was resistance. It held as a support for a second, support, resistance. So it's fighting. This is the little zone of time that we are looking for. Do we get the move back to the upside, or are we continuing this drop? Now, today we did have Ethereum up 1.8%, Bitcoin up 0.08%. And they were up actually a little better earlier. But again, I'm still, if you guys know, we are still looking for this moon phases indicator to continue playing out. So obviously it did hit. It freaking moonshot it, right? So our full moon indicating there's potentially going to be a rise in the next day or two. So let's go to daily. There's a full moon, and then the next day or 2 or 3, there may be an explosion, and 1-2 days later, ba-boom, right? So we had the explosion. Previous to that, the full moon, ba-boom, a nice rise. But the new moon, which will be coming here very shortly, new moon indicates usually a drop. But you can see Shiba Inu was being stubborn. It was being very, very strong. This new moon, it dropped. This new moon, it did not. It just traded sideways. This one traded sideways, all right? So the interesting thing is usually price on a full moon will rise all the way up to 2, 3, 5 days of a new moon. And so let's check our moon cycles. All right, so we Google moon phases 2022, and we currently are August 18th, which is today. It's the 3rd quarter moon, all right? But this is what we're looking for, August 27th. So that means anywhere between, 3 to 5 days prior to the 27th, that would put us at 22nd, 23rd, 24th. So let's go to 22nd, 23rd, 24th. Here's the 23rd. Okay. So here's what's interesting. We should see price rise a little more prior to that moon phase. So we did have a dip. I did talk about a dip coming. The dip did happen. It was actually a pretty solid dip for all of you guys that were here watching this. But we do have the potential of a rise to a newer high. And we go to our 4-hour. And we look at our Nadaria Watson envelope. Yes, it's sloping down, but it could very likely do a roller coaster ride back to the upside. And if you look here, it's starting to flatten out on the 1-hour. Look here on the 30 minutes, still kind of flattening out. And when we look here on the 15-minute chart, it is flat, right? So I'm not saying that Shiba Inu is going to zero right now. I'm not even saying it's going back to new all-time lows, although I do think it will. In fact, I think that's coming in September. I think we're going to have maybe not new all-time lows, but I think we're going to have new lower lows. And we're going to have that weekly divergence that I've been preaching about for a long time, but I think it's coming in September. The drop will happen, and then boom, we'll have an extreme moonshot after that. But here's a few indicators that say that we may return to the upside. Okay, number 1, we are now back to reality in our RSI. Our RSI has hit right here, the average line. Okay, so this is the average line. We need to see this thing bounce tomorrow. So remember, today's candle, there's 1 hour left. So in 1 hour, we need to see price start to rebound. So over the next couple of days, we should see a nice rebound. And what I would like to see is I want to see the RSI coming to the upside right? So RSI is going to rise, but it's not going to quite be higher than the previous on the 15th of the 76. It's going to be lower than that, but our price is going to get higher than the previous high, this peak right here, which was a high of quad 01791. Now, again, this is just me seeing what I know in the market. This is just my personal opinion. This could be completely wrong. We may end up crashing all the way back down to those numbers that we talked about, quad 013, whatever. But the most likely scenario is we do have a continued push, and we have a push up into the new moon, which we'll just put a dot right there, right? So price continues to rise over the next couple of days, and then boom, that's when we start a decline into September. And then we will be hitting another full moon. And so we jump over here to our charts and we look at the next full moon. We obviously had the August 11th full moon, which was here. The next one will be September 10th. September 10th puts us here, okay? So what if price then makes its way down to the new lower lows? I'm not talking about all-time lows, but getting back here over about this time period. And then we see the actual recovery of the market. So just a hypothetical, just what I've seen from doing charting for years, from knowing what's going on in the economy, things of that nature. That's where we're at right now. Now, we very likely may not do any of this. But the things that are lined up right now, as long as there's no news, like no crazy news that comes out, like Russia drops a nuclear bomb on Ukraine or something, or the United States decides to start printing money again, that would probably be around here, right? So you want some more stimulus money, you want some checks, you want the government to start printing money again. It may happen like here in September, because November is the election the next month. So we'll see what happens on all of those scenarios. So that's a long-term vision. We got our short-term vision. We got all these things going on. Let's remove all 14 drawings and indicators, and let's just do a quick recap. So right now, price is potentially coming back down to the low side of our last peak, which was the quad 013. So we all know that that was the resistance. And then when we finally broke that resistance, we had the moonshot, boom, but it never retested that zone. So could we be returning to there? It is a possibility. We're gonna potentially have that happen. When we go to our supply and demand zones here on the Heikinashi of the 4-hour time frame, the 4-hour time frame supply and demand zone to the low side is all the way back down here, and there isn't one. There isn't one until getting back here, and that's even below there. So we're hoping that we just have a mysterious, miraculous rise to the upside, because there is no support. There's no supply and demand support until we get down there. But we could see, you know, because of the new moon and all of that, we could see a return to higher highs, which that's what I'm hoping for. And with that being said, where is our supply zone to the upside, our upside 4-hour supply and demand zone, which remember we do in red? That puts us here. The bottom side of that, getting us back to quad 01613. Okay, and you can see how that was a resistance. It rejected off there. Well, let's get back into it. So to the upside, let's say we start running up, we hit it, we get in, we test it, we run up, we hit it, we get in, we test it, and then we make a new high. Something higher than this previous high right here of about quad 01790. That's the outlook for Shiba Inu. Let's look at the weekly real quick. So here we are on the weekly. Weeklies look real strong. We've had 2 very, very strong weeks in a row now on the Heikinashis, but as we turn them on to Japanese candlesticks, you can see it's making a return to the downside. And why? Because there was a massive fair value gap, okay, or an imbalance that we talked about. Look at how much that's filled in now. Remember how it was like this big, giant, massive red blob right here? Well, it's starting to fill in. So that's actually a good thing. Price could very likely come back here, fill the weekly gap. There's the daily gap getting us. The bottom of that daily gap is quad 0130, but we don't need to fill that right now. I would more be interested in the moon phases playing out over the next couple of days. We start to pump, whether it's today, tomorrow, or the next day. We get some more movement to the upside, and then we get to the new moon phase, and then we start that drop, and then it does fill all of these gaps. That's what I'm keeping an eye on for Shiba Inu. Let's look at Ethereum. So Ethereum, we talked about this yesterday as well. Heikin-Ashi candles, 4-hour time frame. You can see the red ones. If you remember, red is our 4-hour supply and demand zones. And as you can see right here, price did. This is what we want to have happen for Shiba Inu. Price, it bounced off of our 1-hour supply and demand zone 1, 2, 3, 4 times, made its way up. It broke into our 4-hour supply and demand zone and turned it into a support. See how it's the body did not break back down below the bottom of this? So this is support. Now this could continue sideways and then finally make its way back up. And then with Ethereum, we want to see Ethereum returning, back to the top side of this 4-hour supply and demand zone, breaking back above 1900, then getting back up into this 1970 4-hour supply and demand zone, and then getting up into here and filling this 4-hour, 4-hour, because we're on the 4-hour fair value gap, which also puts us a tiny bit higher than the previous high. Okay. And if we look at the daily time frames and we turn on our TDI here, there we go. So give us the RSI down here. So same thing here, right? So RSI, we get price to return up. RSI does not reach quite as high as the 71, which was the previous high that peaked out the overbought territory. It did break down, relief there. Today we've had a little bit of a rally from that. If we can get back up a higher high in price, a lower high in RSI, giving us a bearish divergence, then giving us the ability to play out this, coming back down, filling in all of these fair value gaps, and also giving us the bottom side bullish divergence on the weekly. Boom. Now, moonshot to the races. Okay, and let's go back to the 4-hour time frames, Heikin-Ashi candles, zoom them in. So again, to the upside, the bottom side here, 1970. If it breaks through this current supply and demand zone here, it needs to break above 1904, then it can make its way up. If for some reason it does end up rejecting or falling back out of that box, this 1-hour supply and demand zone is here to act as a support, which gives us 1826. If it falls through that 1826 to 1807 on the 4-hour time frame, it leaves us a pretty steep free fall down here to 1600. We go to the 1-hour. Is there anything, even the 1-hour? So if it falls, it's going to fall. Just like I said about Shiba Inu yesterday, if it falls, it's going to fall, and it did fall. Ethereum, very likely, same thing, if it falls. But if not, we could see a rise to here, new all-time highs, and then we get that new moon. The new moon means we break to the downside, go from there. Bitcoin. All right, so here's Bitcoin on the 1-hour time frame. Same thing here. It is in our 1-hour supply and demand zone. It's been teasing in and out, in and out, in and out. It's holding as a support though. Luckily, it hasn't broken down to the downside. And when we look at this on the 4-hour time zone, supply and demand zones, what do we have? We have this giant supply and demand zone here, which covers that. I mean, it had a huge wick. That one candle is just a monster. And then after that, to the upside, we also have another green monster right here. To the downside, here, let's just clear it. Let's clear Bitcoin. All right. And then also here, by the way, on the 4-hour, look at the RSI. It was oversold. Looks like it might be doing a double tap oversold, giving us a W pattern down here. We've got the W pattern right here forming. Boom, boom. Could we see the rise to the upside? The rise to the upside brings us back to, it's just so choppy right here on the 4 hours, isn't it? It's crazy. But look at this 4-hour rise to the upside. Let's go back in history and get a solid previous high here. That's what I like to see. Boom. Okay. So let's use that as our potential move to the upside. And how do we get that move to the upside? We just have to break these previous highs, which is right here. So we need Bitcoin to run up to 25,286, break that, then it can continue its way to 27, break that, gets us 28. All right. If that doesn't happen, or if that does happen, we also have the daily supply and demand zone, which is higher. We've been talking about this daily supply and demand zone now for like a month. It's here, maybe not a month, because it was June 8th. We're in August. Yeah, so it has been more than a month. And again, these are yellow because they're daily. All right, and you can draw these. That's why I'm trying to show you guys this, by the way. I know I spent a lot of time on it, but it's very helpful for you guys to learn, and you can draw your own supply and demand zones. Because look at this. To the upside, we have this. And then here, check this out. Look at this one right here. That's what's acting as our support right now. So this last red candle before this up move, put it exactly there. Okay, so there you go. And then we go to present day, and we go to Japanese candles, and look where it came. Bam, bam, exactly. Like it's literally exact. Boom, boom, and then rejected off. So we may be moving back to the upside again, because again, we have to start to hopefully make a rally to the upside, getting us to the August 27th new moon before we can have the drop. Obviously, we had a pullback, but remember, price never moves in a straight line. So here on Bitcoin, we put our moon phases on, and you can see it here as well, moon phases, okay? So look, full moon, rise, new moon, kind of rejected there, right? Full moon, rose for those couple of days there. Yes, we got rejection at this level, coming back down. Then we could have a move to the upside again. All right, TA ran a little long today. Can't do the news. See you tomorrow.